And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it, and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
If your wife is sexually harassed, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. You file HR complaints. You raise the issue, and you follow a legal process. What you don't do is mock the person and turn it into a joke.
Joe Rogan has entered the chat, and he's got harsh words for Ryan Reynolds. After Marvel allegedly fired Ryan Reynolds for blackmailing Justin Baldoni, Joe Rogan is calling him out for using dirty manipulation tactics. Could this be the end of Ryan's reputation in Hollywood? Let's break it all down, because this drama is absolutely insane. It all started during the production of It Ends With Us, a movie directed by Justin Baldoni and starring Blake Lively, who also happens to be the wife of Ryan Reynolds. At first, everything seemed to be going smoothly. Baldoni was passionate about adapting Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel for the big screen, and Blake was the perfect choice to play the lead role of Lily Bloom. Fans were excited, the cast and crew were optimistic, and the studio had high hopes for the film's success. But what was supposed to be a straightforward adaptation soon became entangled in behind-the-scenes drama, with Reynolds at the center of it all. Despite not being officially attached to the project, multiple reports suggest that Ryan Reynolds was unusually involved in the film's production. At first, it appeared as if he was simply being a supportive husband, checking in on set, offering words of encouragement, and showing interest in how things were progressing. But as time went on, it became clear that his involvement went far beyond that. According to industry insiders, Reynolds was allegedly pushing for creative control over certain aspects of the movie. Some claim he wanted to influence casting decisions, script revisions, and even the way key scenes were shot. Others believe he was seeking a secret producer credit, an unacknowledged role that would allow him to shape the film from behind the scenes without officially being listed in the credits. However, Ryan Reynolds secretly had something on Baldoni, something so significant that he could use it as leverage to get his way. The nature of this supposed leverage remains a mystery, but speculation quickly spread. Some insiders whisper that Reynolds had obtained personal information about Baldoni, something potentially damaging if revealed to the public. Others suggest that it had to do with Hollywood business dealings, perhaps a behind-the-scenes contract dispute, a financial arrangement, or something from Baldoni's past that Reynolds had uncovered. Whatever the truth was, one thing was clear: Baldoni was not willing to give in. Sources say that despite the pressure, he stood his ground, refusing to let Reynolds interfere with his creative vision. At first, there were attempts to smooth things over. Private meetings were held, and some believed that the conflict might be resolved quietly. But when Baldoni continued to resist, tensions reportedly escalated. Here's where the drama takes a twist. Some accounts describe intense confrontations between Baldoni and Reynolds, heated discussions behind closed doors, where both men stood firm in their positions. Others suggest that Reynolds worked more discreetly, using his Hollywood influence to try and gain control in ways that weren't immediately visible. Meanwhile, those on set began to sense the growing tension, though no one knew exactly what was happening. Blake Lively, caught between her husband and her director, found herself in an incredibly difficult position. She was deeply committed to the film, having taken on the lead role with enthusiasm, but she also had to navigate the complexities of her personal life. Some sources say she tried to act as a mediator, attempting to ease the friction between Baldoni and Reynolds. Others claim she distanced herself from the situation altogether, choosing to focus solely on her performance rather than getting involved in the growing conflict.
But I was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and
of
it's
both.
like, yeah, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like, you know, kind of like my outfit, I guess.
As production continued, the atmosphere on set reportedly became strained. Crew members noticed the underlying tension, and rumors began circulating about what was really going on behind the scenes. Some wondered if the movie would even be completed as planned. Would Reynolds eventually get his way, or would Baldoni manage to retain full creativity creative control. Fast forward to Deadpool 3, and Ryan Reynolds had the perfect opportunity to get his revenge. After all the tension during the production of It Ends With Us, insiders claim that Ryan decided to settle the score in the most Ryan Reynolds way possible, through humor, sarcasm, and a not-so-subtle jab disguised as a brand new character in the Deadpool universe. Enter Nice Pool. At first glance, Nice Pool seemed like just another quirky, throwaway side character in Deadpool 3. Fans assumed he was simply part of the film's signature brand of humor, a satirical, over-the-top addition meant to poke fun at the idea of overly righteous superheroes. But when industry whispers began to circulate, people started to look at Nice Pool in a different light. The realization hit hard. This wasn't just a joke. It was a direct mockery of Justin Baldoni. Nice Pool is the complete opposite of Deadpool in every possible way. He's relentlessly kind, overwhelmingly positive, and constantly trying to motivate people with deep emotional speeches about hope, love, and believing in yourself. He's the kind of hero who never curses, never kills, and instead of fighting enemies, he tries to hug them into submission. While Deadpool is cynical, snarky, and willing to break every rule in the book, Nice Pool is the definition of squeaky clean, a character so inspirational that it's almost unbearable. If this sounds familiar, that's because it's an exaggerated representation of Justin Baldoni's public persona. Baldoni, known for his motivational speeches, emotional storytelling, and deeply personal approach to filmmaking, has built a career around positivity and empowerment. But in Deadpool 3, those very qualities were turned into a punchline. Reynolds didn't just create a random superhero, he crafted a parody of Baldoni, with mannerisms, catchphrases, and even a backstory that seemed tailor-made to mock the director. Once the rumors started spreading, fans began connecting the dots. Those who were familiar with Baldoni's work said the similarities were impossible to ignore. Even some Hollywood insiders admitted that the character felt too specific to be a coincidence. The name itself, Nice Pool, seemed like a subtle jab, as if to say, "Oh, look at this guy, he's just too nice to function." Some even speculated that certain lines of dialogue in the movie were direct references to Baldoni's well-known speeches and projects, twisted just enough to fit within Deadpool's signature humor.
Who are you? Oh, I'm Deadpool. And I guess you're Deadpool too. But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist.
Marvel executives, however, were not amused. While the Deadpool franchise has always been known for pushing boundaries, there's a fine line between edgy humor and personal vendettas. Marvel Studios has always maintained tight control over its brand, and allowing a personal grudge to be aired in one of their biggest films was seen as a major problem. Sources say that once higher-ups at Marvel realized the true intent behind the Nice Pool character, they were furious. What was meant to be a harmless addition to the film suddenly looked like a major PR risk. This wasn't just about Deadpool 3 anymore, it was about the reputation of the Marvel brand. The studio had already been dealing with rumors of Reynolds being difficult to work with reports of creative disagreements and tension behind the scenes. Now, with this controversy added to the mix, insiders claim that this was the final straw. Behind closed doors, Marvel executives reportedly decided they had had enough. Some sources suggest that they made the decision to cut ties with Reynolds quietly, without making any official announcements. Unlike other Marvel stars who are usually front and center in promotions, Reynolds suddenly found himself at a noticeable distance from the studio. And that leads to the biggest question of all. Was Ryan Reynolds actually fired? If Marvel did decide to part ways with him, they would never admit it publicly. Firing Reynolds would create massive headlines, overshadowing the film itself and potentially hurting ticket sales. Instead, the studio seems to be taking a different approach, keeping things quiet and slowly distancing themselves from him. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds' PR team is in full-on panic mode, scrambling to contain the fallout from the growing controversy. What started as an industry rumor has snowballed into a major Hollywood scandal, and behind closed doors, damage control meetings are happening at an alarming rate. Insiders claim that Ryan and his team are doing everything they can to convince Marvel that the Nice Pool character was nothing more than a harmless joke, a simple addition to Deadpool 3's signature satire, not a personal attack on Justin Baldoni. But the problem is, the industry isn't buying it. The whispers about a deeper feud between Reynolds and Baldoni aren't going away. In fact, they're only getting louder. And the most damning part, the blackmail allegations. If it turns out that Reynolds truly did have leverage over Baldoni during the production of It Ends With Us, and if he used that leverage to manipulate the film's direction or secure influence behind the scenes, then no amount of PR spin will be able to fix this. Hollywood is ruthless when it comes to protecting its brand, and even the most bankable stars have been discarded when their reputations became too toxic. At the same time, there's growing speculation that Ryan's ego may have finally gotten the best of him. He's long been known as a perfectionist, deeply involved in every aspect of his films. He doesn't just act, he writes, he improvises, and he shapes the final product in ways that go far beyond the typical leading man. While this has led to some of his biggest successes, like the Deadpool franchise, it may also be what led to his downfall.
No, I mean, I always thought I'd end up as in law enforcement, like my family. So I didn't imagine that acting was a way to get out of the house. It wasn't really like a passion when I was a kid. It was something that I was already doing at home, you know, to survive. So
Right.
you kind of, you know, I noticed when I was a kid, making people laugh was a great self-defense mechanism. It really helped me kind of navigate my way through my own home with my older brothers and my dad, and I could diffuse them by making them laugh.
This time, did he go too far? If Marvel is truly ready to walk away from him, it would mark the end of an era. Ryan Reynolds has been synonymous with Deadpool for nearly a decade. He fought tirelessly to bring the character to life, even leaking test footage to force the studio's hand in greenlighting the first film. He turned the role into his personal brand, blurring the lines between himself and the character in a way few actors ever have. Losing Deadpool wouldn't just be losing another gig, it would mean saying goodbye to the role that redefined his entire career. Reynolds has long been considered one of Hollywood's most bankable and beloved actors. He's not just a star, he's a brand. Between Deadpool, his aviation gin business, his Mint Mobile deal, and his high-profile relationship with Blake Lively, he has built an empire that stretches far beyond the silver screen. Marvel knows that replacing him won't be easy. The Deadpool franchise has been one of the few consistently successful properties in the superhero genre, and with Marvel struggling to recapture its former box office dominance, cutting ties with Reynolds could be a risky move. Some believe that Marvel needs Ryan more than Ryan needs Marvel. That's why they haven't made any public statements yet, why they haven't outright fired him. If they were to announce his departure now, it could spark massive backlash from fans, damage the Deadpool franchise, and create an even bigger scandal. So instead, they're staying quiet, waiting for the storm to pass before making any big decisions. But others argue that the writing is already on the wall. If the blackmail accusations gain traction, there may be no saving Ryan's reputation. No matter how powerful he is, Marvel has replaced major actors before, often quietly over time, without making a big deal out of it. If they decide Reynolds is no longer worth the trouble, they could simply phase him out. Maybe they could introduce a new Deadpool from the multiverse, played by a different actor, or perhaps give another character, like Wolverine, a more prominent role, gradually shifting the franchise's focus. After all, they could also simply let Deadpool 3 be Ryan's final outing, never officially announcing his departure, but never inviting him back. As for Justin Baldoni, he has remained completely silent throughout the controversy, refusing to engage with the rumors swirling around him and Ryan Reynolds. While some might interpret his lack of response as indifference, others believe he is being strategic, choosing to play the long game while the drama continues to unfold. After all, with Marvel now at the center of the controversy, the pressure is on them to make a move, not him. By staying out of the fray, Baldoni avoids getting dragged into the public spectacle, allowing the situation to play out naturally. But there's another possibility, one that's even more intriguing. What if Baldoni's silence isn't just about strategy, but self-preservation? If the blackmail allegations are true, then Baldoni may have more to lose than people realize. The rumors suggest that Reynolds had some sort of leverage over him, something personal, something powerful. If that's the case, Baldoni may be trying to avoid stirring the pot any further. Engaging with the controversy could risk drawing even more attention to whatever it was that Reynolds allegedly knew. In that scenario, staying quiet isn't just the smart move, it's the only move.
About a month ago, this really hit home with me too. About a month ago, I was sitting in traffic and I was just like jamming These Dreams by heart. I was killing it in the car. And there was just this busload of high school kids that were parked right beside me. I didn't even realize. I looked over and every one of their jaws were just on the ground, laughing their friggin' guts out at me.
But even if Baldoni isn't speaking publicly, you can bet he's paying close attention to how Marvel handles the situation. If the studio officially distances itself from Reynolds, it could be seen as a quiet victory for Baldoni. On the other hand, if Marvel ultimately stands by Reynolds, it might send a different message, that Reynolds is too valuable to be held accountable, and that whatever happened between them will remain buried.
If you even aspire to be like a Hollywood actor and actress, in most circumstances, you're dealing with someone who probably has some narcissistic tendencies.
So where does this leave Ryan Reynolds? If the allegations are false, then his biggest challenge right now is reclaiming control of the narrative. Every passing day without a statement only allows the speculation to grow, making it harder to shut down the rumors once and for all. He needs to clear his name, and he needs to do it fast. But the problem is, even a carefully crafted PR statement might not be enough at this point. The more time that goes by, the more it looks like he's scrambling for a defense rather than standing on solid ground. On the other hand, if any part of the blackmail rumors are true, then Ryan Reynolds' career may be facing its biggest test yet. Hollywood has forgiven a lot over the years, but direct manipulation, power plays, and behind-the-scenes bullying, especially if it involved threatening someone's career, could be a scandal too big to recover from. The entertainment industry may be cutthroat, but it also values its unspoken rules, and if Reynolds broke them in a way that makes Marvel uncomfortable, he may be out of options. No matter what happens next, one thing is clear. This is more than just a Hollywood feud. It's a power struggle, a career-defining moment, and a test of whether Ryan Reynolds' influence is enough to protect him from the fallout. One wrong move, and everything could come crashing down.